Hello, welcome to the Land of Kakiak. I want to talk to you about Teach Your Child to Read in 100 Easy Lessons. Okay, so if you've been on my channel a little bit, you know that I have definitely endorsed this product, Teach Your Child to Read in 100 Easy Lessons. And I stand by that. I think that this will get your child reading, and it's easy for you. My favorite thing about it is the nice, gentle approach it takes, and building on previously mastered reading skills. So it trained me in like a technique and a flow, and because there was just something, it was already there and open and go. I didn't have to prepare anything. It really kept me consistent with it. So I was doing it every day, like 7 days a week, because it is very quick. It's not time consuming at all, effective, and I was a newbie and lacking in confidence and learning, so I think that if you feel like you want something to hold your hand, and this is something that I don't even know how many families have used, it's been vetted, then I think this is a really good place to start your reading journey, So what I don't like about it, I guess, is there is nothing, I guess it's all twaddle. If you're familiar with that word, with that term. I did feel a while back convicted about what I was putting in my children's hearts and minds through books and things. Ask my 11-year-old what happened to his Captain Underpants and Plants vs. Zombies books. But this one goes, another thing that's good is that it covers an enormous amount of material and skill level. So I like that it kept me consistent. It trained me in a teaching technique, and it was very positive. It's very encouraging to the student. I liked that there was pictures involved in it. That was a helpful reward for my son. So I still think it's a really good resource. Yeah, like I said, what I didn't like about it was a little bit of twaddle. They did things like call people fat, and I know that that's just an easy word to read or whatever, and it's descriptive. But I don't mean to be really I'm not I'm not a PC person or anything, but just having loved ones that are overweight, and that the word fat, calling people fat casually and laughing, kids laughing. Kids always think that's funny. I don't know. It just felt not nice. That kind of bothered me a little bit, They do have some kind of cute, kind of cool gimmicks to teach to read, with their fonts and things that they use. But I think I don't think that it's necessarily necessary. And it seems like all these other reading programs, kids are learning to read without the font gimmick. I don't think it's doing any harm at all. My kids didn't even notice the change in fonts and stuff. But I think you could just, and I do like that it gives the diacritical marks for a lot of stuff. Look, see, it's telling you that's a long E, silent A. I like that. But I also think that's something you could do yourself with a pencil on top of any resource you have if you wanted to. So what else? I really don't have anything I'm not bashing this. I like this product. I recommend this product to people to this day. If you need a place to start and want something to hold your hand, just go. They end up look how much they end up reading by the end of it. Really long passages, right? Things with dialogue in them. And they have little comprehension questions at the end, which is cool. Which is another thing that I would say that going through this program trained me to ask comprehension questions, because you just have done them so much. So like, I'm not saying you can't go wrong with this, but if you didn't want to use it, because I do think, so because I want to use the McGuffey readers, I primarily use, I guess, the revised editions, although I have all the other ones too. I just started on the revised, so it's kind of what my early program was built around, and then they kind of actually start reading both sets, both of the originals and the revised, because I love them, and like, who can pick? It's like picking between your favorite children. This is ridiculous how much I love these books. But also, you know, Sherry over at Mom Delight said one time, you know, maybe if you're gonna do this, like, and you wanted to move on to the McGuffies and stuff, you might only need to do like the first 50 lessons. I mean, so just do like half the book. And then, because I did notice that we did this whole program, then I wanted to go into the McGuffey, so I went to like the primer. I mean, I probably could have started on like the first reader or whatever. So then I put them into the primer, which is like a tiny little book. But they were way kind of past it. Like, you saw how long that passage was that he was reading by the end. So it was kind of like, oh my gosh, but look at these illustrations, you guys. These are amazing. I love these. So I probably lost some time, right? That we could have kept moving forward. I don't think that he was hurt. Like my second was hurt by this at all. But yeah, it kind of depends on your time frame. Like when maybe you're starting, because I was starting him when we were younger. Maybe your kid's like 7, you know, and you don't really want to waste a bunch of time or make them go back and start reading things that are like simpler again, you know. So maybe transitioning out of this into the McGuffies, you might have to skip the primer or something. So I didn't. We just did multiple lessons, you know, in a day to kind of get through it. I wanted him to just kind of get used to the new format and everything, and like I was getting used to the new series of books and stuff. But if you like didn't want to use this at all, let's say you could. These are all totally good options. Or do this whole program, then start the McGuffies wherever you want, you know, from the primer or maybe from the first reader or something. Or do the first 50 lessons, right? Then go into the primer. Or like, let's say you didn't want, say you're like, okay, Laurel, I'm doing Robinson curriculum. I have access to all of these amazing McGuffey revised versions. I have them, I printed them off, I want to use what I have, right? So that's why I don't want to go buy another, I don't know, is this thing like $30 or something like that? I know Alpha Phonics is in there too. I actually have never used Alpha Phonics. I'll show, I don't know. Anyway, so I think because I already had the teacher child to read and they seemed pretty similar. So, but I made this is free. I'll link it down below for you again. I've made videos before. I'll share those down below too. But you know, I've like just working my sequence. I'm just teaching them using my RC Phonics flashcards and my memory game and stuff. And we do little different activities with the full page size letters of the upper and lower cases. And we're just gonna work on this for a long time. So let's say you had picked up this program from me, this free program. And you know, this is what I'm doing this is what I'm doing at home with my kids too. I'm not just like making random stuff and throwing it out there. This is like, we've been using it for a while before I like share it because I like it so much. And if it's free, and if you don't like it, you can chuck it, right? You don't have to feel bad. Oh, and P.S. if you are using this program to like, you know, kind of just something to keep you on track with your early phonemes, you know, your phonics, and transitioning into the McGuffey primer. So this is, somebody had brought something up to me. So I have the sequence here, and I say, when all ABCs are recognized and sounds memorized, move on to practicing sounding out closed syllable words with short vowels. So those are our CVC words, right? You may use McGuffey's Eclectic Primer Revised Edition or any other primer of your choice. So that what I was trying to say there was practice like 2 and 3 letter, you know, words, closed syllable words with short vowels. Just do a bunch of words to practice. And then when you feel that your child is ready, then go into that's the first reader, go into the primer, right? Let me read to you the first page of the primer. The cat, the rat, right? That's the warm up. The cat has a rat. The rat ran at Anne. Anne has a cat. The cat ran at the rat. Okay. And then Anne and Nat. So it starts out really, really simple, but it quickly moves, gets longer already by here. It's like up to this long, right? Oh, and they start adding in script. Let's see, so by lesson 10, look at your review, right? They're getting longer, there's a variation of words, there's more blends, like there's the FR for frog, you know, stand. So anyways, you start getting possessive S's being introduced. I love this book. Anyway, so it does start moving quick. I mean, it's very simple at the beginning, but it's not going to walk you through a ton of just 3-letter words. So I was going to show you what I'm planning on doing. So Beauregard's not quite there yet, but this is kind of similar to what you'd be doing in like these types of programs anyways. So if you're an RC parent, you already have this book in the printable files. So you could just open it up. I've got 2 options for this book. Just open it up. And this is the book I use for our spelling program. And you just go to, this is after they know all their phonograms, right? You just start at lesson 1, and you can start using these words. Am, you know, am. And they give you the diacritical marks, let you know that's a short A. That's the A sound. So I like that. So you could just start using this. The only thing is to practice words is that these words are small. And I just have a feeling that little kids, they don't always still have the best hand-eye coordination to put their little finger underneath there. I think there's a reason why, you know, like the Alpha Phonics and the 100 Easy Lessons, look how big their font is, right? Compared to this. Right? Because they're putting their little fingers and right? They're like going and slow, and then they go fast and you know. Anyway, so using it straight out of the book might be a little bit hard. You could always just write them out yourself, right? You could write them on a chalkboard or on a piece of paper for your kid. But you know how I am, you know I was gonna like make something. So I made these. I've been working on them for like, I don't know, a week or 2. And I actually finally printed them and bound them. And it was kind of my cursive was kind of a technical nightmare. So I had to put it in my TPT store in 2 separate downloads. But anyways, so some people would like to start their kids on cursive. So I went ahead and did a cursive. So it says reading and spelling for beginners, CVC words in cursive, right? So I just took I will say I did change 2 of the words from the first beginning of that spelling book. I don't know, for manners, for polite reasons. Anyways, so I give you guys some notes if you want to use this. I'll share it with you. But it says this resource was created to be used as a stepping stone between learning phonics and reading the McGuffey Primer Revised Edition. So I just give some child slowly sounds out each phoneme while pointing beneath the letter. Child reads the word slowly. Child reads the word fast. Child traces the word while pronouncing each phoneme, like with a pencil or a highlighter or whatever. Child freehands the word while pronouncing each phoneme. And I have 2 little good to knows in here because you'll see a spelling pattern and a syllable pattern within these words right away. You'll see the floss rule or FLSZ rule. Does the word have 1 syllable and 1 vowel? If it does it end in FLS or Z? If yes, then you double it. You'll see some of those words in there. And it's also good to know the closed syllable pattern. So if a syllable has 1 vowel and is closed in by a consonant, the vowel is short. And so you'll see that's what VC and CVC words are. But you might as well start, that's just 1 spelling pattern and 1, syllable pattern straight off the bat. So I just start you guys with the alphabet. They can practice. And I did do it lighter. It looks lighter in my screen than it does in person, but I did do it in gray so that they could trace it and see their own writing, but it's still there for a guide. But so we give them the cursive alphabet, you know, and they can be practicing their sounds while they are writing. That's how I have my kids do it. And then, and I did make it look like it's on lined paper, but you know, these are bigger, so it's not quite as small as when you start if you are using my my Copywork for the McGuffey like primer. It's a little bit smaller. These are a little bit bigger because this is like for a less experienced, you know, hand writer. You know what I mean? And then I say it's 2 lessons per page, lessons 2 and 3, because you probably are just going to do like half a sheet a day or something like that until they're mastered. But yeah, so you could go. So here are we. Where we are. So you could go. Right? And you could even you could write that on there. That's a short A. You could do the symbol yourself, right? So they know which A sound it is. Am, right? Am. That's the word am, such as I am reading. And then they could trace the am in cursive, saying am, right? And then they could freehand it down here, am, right? That's why there's this blank space. It's for them to write. So I would go, you know, trace one, write one, trace one, write one, or you could go trace, 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 write, write, write. This has, how many lists? It goes from am to, ends up in gust, drum, stop, right? And then of course I wrote the end. Does anybody else, I always say the for everything except the end. I say the end. Does anybody else do that? I don't know what that's about. Anyways, but the is a good one for them to learn. That E is a schwa, right? And there's the TH if you want to introduce the TH, because that comes in pretty early in the McGuffey primer. Okay, so there is a cursive. I think this one's $5 total right now, and this one is $4 for the manuscript. So it's the same thing, it's just in manuscript form. So I personally start my kids on manuscript, like as far as like writing and stuff, but I show them cursive a lot. Like whenever I write on the board, so sorry, someone messaged me. It's an RC parent too. I'm excited. I love talking to you guys. Talk to me more. Like I really like it. I get excited. Sometimes I feel like I'm talking to myself, and it's kind of reminiscent of, let's just say I didn't have a lot of friends growing up. Anyways, I always like to see pictures of myself. I'm like, I wonder why I didn't have any boyfriends. Okay, so let's see. Then I made you something free. Our favorite word, right? It's my favorite word. So I made you guys some trophies, and I made these to go along. Like I was thinking I would use them, but then I was thinking I could use this for like anything. So I kind of made this into a generic like reward. So look at this cute guy. So you could put this, you could print this out, and if you know, you could put this at the back of like any workbook or anything that you're binding, and then when they get to the end, ta-da, right? They could cut it out, they could keep it, they could whatever. And then I also made a whole sheet of them. So you could they could cut these out, or you could cut these out, these little trophies, and they're super cute. Who made that? Something melon heads. Anyways, and then I made you guys just a little blank chart, but this is how I filled it in. So I made this is my Beauregard's Pre-K accomplishments 2022 to 2023, and I just wrote the major subjects: letters, numbers, motor skills, and then our read aloud. So all the books that I'm gonna read to him this year. Not all of them, but as many as that would fit. You can always keep printing this. And then so I'm like excited because tomorrow is our 6th day of the week that we do school. And I'm gonna have Beauregard cut out one of these little trophies and paste it onto the B and the U square because he has mastered those. He can write those, he can recognize them, he can match the upper and lower case right now, and he can tell me all the sounds that they make. So yeah, and then he also has some, he knows his 0 to 5 and probably 6 to 10 almost, but for sure 0 to 5. So I actually have 2 trophies for him to cut out and glue on here. And I'm gonna put this probably in, I use these constantly, one of these. We can paste those on and then just slip it back in here so we can keep an eye on what are our goals. And this might help me plan, like lesson plan too. But I'm just gonna keep this probably up somewhere where we can see it and where we can show it to, like, you know, I love telling him, oh, I can't wait to show Dad, you know. He loves to show his dad, get him excited about that. Anyway, so I'll link this resource, this little accomplishment trophy thing, down below for you with this. So these things are free, right? All these lessons. And I'll link to these, and these are my TPT store. And I still think 100 Easy Lessons or like Alpha Phonics, those are all great programs. And if you want something like a little bit less involved, or that you just feel like it's gonna give, because this gives you like a whole script, then like this is a great resource. If you don't want to buy anything else and you just want to use your RC resources or little to, you know, nothing else, you can use my free phonics lessons. And if you want to, I mean, you don't have to use these, but you could use the words out of here in like a similar way in your own notebooks at home. So, but just if you want something in a model that's already ready for you, you can grab these. Okay, if you have any questions, leave them down below, or if there's anything you'd like me to show you in more detail, yeah, leave me questions, comments, and if anybody has started, if anybody is doing this with me and wants to let me know how it's going, or what activities you've chosen to do, or what sequence you're doing, then I would love to hear how this is going for other families as well. So I just would say the #1 thing is consistency and not doing too much, you know? Okay, thanks. Talk to you soon.